Hi, I'm Tomi Mester from data36.com, and in the previous video I showed you how Python lists work. In this one I want to talk about two more important data structures for data scientists, tuples and dictionaries. Before we get started, if you want to check out the previous video or the whole Python for Data Science series in video or article format, go check out the links below this video. Also, please subscribe and like so the YouTube algorithm can show this video for more people who want to learn data science here on YouTube. Just a quick recap of the previous video. We talked about data structures, and I told that there are three major Python data structures that you have to know as a data scientist or an aspiring data scientist. These are Python lists, Python tuples, and Python dictionaries. And in the previous video, I showed you Python lists, and in this one I will show you Python tuples and Python dictionaries. I showed you how to create a Python list, how to query different elements from it. I showed you what is a nested list and how to get an element from a nested list, and then how to access multiple elements of a Python list. And in this video I want to show you the same things with tuples and dictionaries. Let's start with tuples. I won't talk a lot about tuples because, well, first of all, as a junior or aspiring data scientist, you don't have to care too much about Python tuples. Let me scroll down a little bit. So you don't have to care too much about what is a Python tuple. If you want, you can even skip this part of the video. But if you have stayed, a Python tuple is almost the same as a Python list with a few small differences. So this is a Python list, and one of the differences that syntax-wise, when you set up a tuple, you won't use brackets like we have done in the case of Python lists. You will use parentheses. So this is a Python tuple. Cool. Well, actually, let's call this book tuple and not book list. Better. But I can print the tuple to my screen, similarly how I have done with the Python list. And the second big difference is that a Python list is mutable, so a Python list is mutable, so you can add, remove, and change items in it. On the other hand, a Python tuple is immutable, so once it's set up, it's sort of set in stone, and this strictness can be handy in some cases to make your code safer. And the third difference is that Python tuples are slightly faster than Python lists with the same calculations, but other than that you can use a tuple pretty much the same way as a list. Even returning an item happens via the same bracket frames method, so if I want to select a Game of Thrones from this tuple, I have to type book_tuple, and between bracket frames I will type 0. Remember, 0-based indexing. So this is a Game of Thrones. The first element is Digital Fortress, and the second one, or in real life it's the third one, but in Python logic it's the second one. It's Practical Statistics for Data Scientists. Again, none of these will be your concern when you just start off with Python coding, but it's good to know at least this bit about tuples. So let's move on and talk about Python dictionaries. Because dictionaries are a whole different story. They are actually very different from lists. So this is a list and this is a dictionary. I will talk about this soon. But the point is that dictionaries are very different from lists, and they are very commonly applied, and they are super useful in data science projects. The main concept of dictionaries is that for every value you have a unique key. So again, this was Freddy the dog, and in a list we had all kind of values about Freddy. So these are the values that we want to store about the dog. But in a dictionary you can attribute a key for each of these values, so you can understand better that what value stands for what. Okay, so just in case, this is a value, the name of the dog, Freddy, and this is a key. It says name. In a list, we don't have these keys because in a list, practically the key is the order of the elements. So I can refer to this element with 0, but I will refer to this value with its key name. Anyways, this dictionary is pretty long, so it didn't fit my screen. But I will just run this cell and return this docdict to my screen, and it's already formatted. And actually, for better understanding, you can do the same for yourself on the first hand. So when you define your dictionary, I could have done something like this. It's just formatting, it doesn't influence the actual output. So I will rerun this. This won't change, right? So this is a dictionary. And as you can see, we even have a nested list in our dictionary under the belongings key. So adding a nested list to your dictionary, or actually nested lists in nested lists, these are not a problem in Python. But I will get back to that as well. But this is how a Python dictionary looks. And our next question is that how to access a specific element of a Python dictionary. It was docdict. This is our dictionary. And here's the most important rule to remember when it comes to accessing any element of any kind of Python data structure. Whether it's a list, a tuple, or a dictionary, you can print a specific item by typing the name of your data structure. So, for instance, in this case, docdict, and the unique identifier of the element between brackets. And the same goes for dictionaries. The only difference is that while in lists and tuples, the unique identifier was the number of the element, in a dictionary, it's the key. So try this. We will query the Freddy value, and its key is name. There it is. And I just wanted to highlight this because I see in live workshops that people have trouble understanding this syntax twist, because the logical thing would be that, at least if you are new to Python, the logical thing would be that you query an element from a Python dictionary with this syntax, but this actually won't work. So you always use bracket frames, whatever Python data structure you talk about. So I will just remove this. And another thing that I wanted to show you is how you query the nested element of a dictionary. It's actually not that hard, because you first query the belongings part. And so this is a nested list, and you apply the same logic that you have used at nested lists. I will just run another element selector, or I don't know how to call it, on this nested list. And in this case, I have to add 0, for instance, to select bone, or 1, for instance, to select little ball. And if this was a nested list, you could add here one more element and then one more element and so on. I think you get the point. And another thing that comes up at live workshops, so I just wanted to talk about that as well, is the question whether you can still use a number to call a dictionary value. So can you do something like this, expecting that the zeros element will be Freddy? And the answer is no, because Python dictionaries are unordered by definition. So there is no order here, actually. So this means that none of the key value pairs have an actual number in the dictionary. And another big question is whether there is an easy way to return a key based on the value, so something like this. But the bad news is that it's not possible either. Python dictionaries are simply not made for that. There are tricky ways to get the keys from a dictionary, but there is no easy way to do that, so this won't work either. Okay, and this is pretty much it. If you want to learn more and test yourself, I recommend that you check out the article version of this tutorial, where I have added an extra exercise with this super nested list dictionary list thingy. Anyways, if you check out the article, you will see the task itself. So it's fun. I recommend that you check out the article version as well. But other than that, you are done with this tutorial. This is almost everything you have to know about Python data structures for now. Well, in fact, there will be a lot of small but important details like how to add, remove, and change elements in a list or in a dictionary. But to get there, we need to talk a little bit about Python functions and methods, and we will do that right in the next video in this tutorial series. But with that being said, this is the end of this video. If you liked it, please leave a like or a comment, and if you want to learn more about data science and about how to become a data scientist, take my 50-minute video course, How to Become a Data Scientist. It's free and linked in the description. Also check out my 6-week online course, the Junior Data Scientist First Month video course, which is a super practical, hands-on and fun way to learn data science, and more particularly, what data science looks like in real life. It's a 6-week simulation of being a junior data scientist at a true-to-life startup, so the course is called the Junior Data Scientist First Month, and I linked that in the description as well. Anyways, thanks for watching. I'm Tomi Mester from data36.com. Until next time.